Oh! Great Odin's Raven!
It's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy.
This is ridiculous. Okay, I'll go.
Hello everyone and welcome to Film Pulse Weekly, episode 4. My name is Adam, and with me as always we have Kevin.
Hello.
How's it going up there in PA, Kevin?
Not too bad.
Is it cold?
A little bit. It was, of course, 60 degrees one day, and then the next day super windy and like 30 degrees.
It's raining down here in Florida today, so weather's not too bad. It's a little chilly outside.
Yeah.
Today we're going to be talking about some of the movies we saw this week. We're going to have Ryan back on the show to talk about a movie we made him watch in our wonderful segment called Ryan Watches a Movie. And rather than talk about the Oscars, which are on tonight, we're going to talk about two other award shows, the Independent Spirit Awards, which were on last night, and the Razzies, which the nominations were announced today. So let's just start off by talking about some of the movies we saw this week. What was the first movie you saw this week, Kevin?
The first movie I saw this week was at the very beginning of the week. I saw The Innkeepers, finally.
Oh, and what did you think of that?
I thought it was okay.
Not great?
Yeah, it was... I enjoyed it the whole way up until the end, and the ending was just a little... I don't know, didn't do enough for me. There wasn't enough in it.
Yeah, a lot of people had problems with the ending. I did. I certainly think that Ty West's last movie, House of the Devil, was better, but I did like the feel of The Innkeepers, but I'm a huge horror buff, so...
Yeah. Well, you know me, I'm not a big horror movie fan, but I definitely like the style and everything that went into it. It didn't seem like there was enough at the end. I like the old school way of where nothing really happens and it's just, a big crescendo at the end. But it didn't feel big enough to me.
Big enough, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree with that. The house that they filmed that in, that's real. That's a real house. That's like the actual name of the house and everything. Mm-hmm. I thought that was cool.
Was that in PA? I had a feeling that it was in PA.
I remember watching it the first time I saw it. I watched it with my girlfriend, and the whole time I was like, "This looks like it's in Pennsylvania," but I cannot remember if that is where it is or not.
Because I thought that the actress character was doing like a seminar somewhere in PA. I can't remember where she said.
It could be.
Yeah. Oh, I wish I would have wrote it down. Because now that's going to bother me.
Oh, well. I'll look it up. Look it up while I'm talking about my first movie. The first movie, I have a bunch of movies that I saw this week, so I'm just going to kind of briefly go over them, just because for some of them I reviewed for the site. The first movie I saw was Tomorrow When the War Began. This is an Australian film. It came out this Friday, in limited release, of course. It was kind of like the movie Red Dawn, teen action type film. It was actually okay to watch. A lot of the action scenes were pretty cool. I think I gave that a 6.5 out of 10 on the site. That's really all I wanted to go over. If you want to learn more about Tomorrow When the War Began, you can check out a review on filmpulse.net. The next movie I wanted to go over briefly was Wanderlust. It came out this past Friday as well, directed by David Wayne, who did Role Models, Wet Hot American Summer, starring Paul Rudd, Jennifer Aniston. I gave this a 6 out of 10 on the site. Good, not great. Certainly not as good as the two films I previously mentioned.
Wasted talent, it seems like. But I do have to say with this movie, I saw, I didn't get to see it, but I saw David Wayne did like a Read It interview, answering people's questions and stuff, and he said, which is what I'm going to wait for, is that the DVD is going to have a Bizarro cut of all the other stuff, like a completely different movie, which I have a feeling is going to be better than the theatrical release.
Yeah, I mean, in my review, I said that it's a great cast. The whole cast is great. A lot of the same people that he uses in all his movies are in it. They're all very, very funny people. But everything seemed kind of dumbed down. Like, if you watch Wet Hot American Summer, that is just completely over the top.
Yeah.
Like, it's going at 11 the whole time. But with Wanderlust, it seems like it's... I don't know if he had to try to dumb it down a little bit to make it appeal to a wider audience, but I just wasn't feeling it. I mean, Paul Rudd was hilarious in it, and there were some very funny moments, but overall, it wasn't like a laugh riot the whole time.
Yeah. Well, that's how I'm curious to see, he's calling it a Bizarro cut. And it's made up entirely of, like, deleted scenes and extended alternative scenes and stuff. So I have a feeling that it's probably going to be more of the craziness that Wet Hot American Summer was. At least I'm hoping. So I'm actually waiting for the DVD to come out so I can watch the Bizarro cut and not the actual theatrical release.
Yeah, I think that should be better, I'm sure. Because I do like David Wayne a lot. I mean, he's actually plays a little cameo in it. And it's pretty funny. He does a scene with Michael Showalter and Michael Ian Black, and they're all funny. But overall, kind of lukewarm on that one. What's next? What you got?
Well, I guess we could go into I saw High Road.
I saw that as well.
Because shared some people, I guess, from Wanderlust.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly. And I'm going to try my hardest on this. Joe Lotruglio?
Mm-hmm. He's one of those actors where he's in tons of stuff, but nobody really knows his name. He was in Wet Hot American Summer. He was in Superbad. He was in just a ton of movies. I Love You, Man.
Yeah, pretty much everything. Pineapple Express, Role Models.
Yeah, he was in just tons of... he's a really funny guy.
Yes, and which brings me to, High Road is a almost entirely improvised movie.
Mm-hmm.
Written and directed by Matt Walsh from Upright Citizens Brigade, which I am a huge fan of.
Yep.
And the character that Joe Lotruglio plays he plays that character so perfectly. He nails it every time.
Yeah. He plays this pseudo... He pretends to be a cop, basically, throughout the movie.
Yes, because he went through the academy. He's not a cop. He did graduate the academy. He just never got around to being a cop.
Right. So he opened up a gym, and it's called Sheriff's Gym or something, right?
Yeah.
What did you think of High Road? I thought it was hilarious. I loved it.
I thought it was too. I was surprised when I went on IMDb to see that it has a score of 4.8. Which
I think that not a lot of people have seen it yet.
Yeah.
It's one of those, and it's really obscure too.
Yes, because like I said, I absolutely love Upright Citizens Brigade, and I can't believe that I didn't hear about this.
Yeah.
Because I'm a huge fan of Matt Walsh, who's been in a ton of stuff, Hangover. What are some of the other movies he was in? Old School.
Yeah, he's another one of those guys. He's in tons of stuff.
Almost every comedy movie. He's
the guy. He's like bald and he has like red hair.
Yeah, and he now has a mustache.
Yeah,
he has that little mustache now. He was in Due Date, Role Models. He was in a ton of movies too.
Yeah, I thought High Road was absolutely hilarious.
Yeah.
It was so funny.
And it's like everyone, they nailed it. Because my sense, the comedy that I love is just the ridiculous banter between people.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And just some of the stuff that they would throw out there was just great. When the band's breaking up and he was like, "You guys are the doctors that killed Michael Jackson."
Yeah. Yeah, basically, it's kind of a stoner comedy. It's like a kind of a stoner road trip comedy. Basically, the main character is under the impression that the cops are after him for being a weed dealer, so he kind of goes on the lam, and there's a ton of people in this, like Abby Elliott from SNL. What's the guy's name from The Office that's in it? Is Zachary something?
Oh yeah, well it has Ed Helms as well. But
Yeah, Ed Helms, Horatio Sands is in it.
yeah, which is another funny scene when they go to the emergency room. It just Rob Riggle's in it. Zach, is it Zach Woods?
Yeah, I think
Zach
that's
Woods.
it.
Yeah, yeah, that plays Gabe on The Office, which he always seems to play a very sort of creepy, disgusting character, which he is big time in this movie. But it also has Rich Fulcher, which most people probably don't know, but he's pretty big in the UK because he had a TV show with Matt Berry called Snuffbox, which is now streaming on Netflix. So if you get a chance, check that out. Very bizarre comedy. Extremely bizarre.
Brits in their comedy. So that's definitely one to check out. High Road. Highly recommend that one. There's just two other movies that I wanted to talk about very briefly. And the reason I wanted to mention them is because right now they're both on video on demand, so you can watch them before they hit theaters. And the first one is Goon with Sean William Scott. This is sort of like the movie Slapshot, where he plays this hockey player that doesn't really play hockey. He just fights, and they just put him on the ice to fight. I actually thought it was pretty funny. It's kind of out of Sean William Scott's comfort zone, I would say. It is a comedic role, but he definitely plays a different type of character than what we're all used to, which is him being kind of, outspoken and really just loud and constantly on. And in this, he plays this kind of reserved role where he doesn't even have that many lines. He just plays a very quiet character that likes to fight. And it's the only one to check out. And the other one that I wanted to mention was Detachment, which is directed by Tony Kaye. He did American History X. And this is a film about high school teachers in a very poor district. I don't think they mention what city it's in. But it stars Adrian Brody, Christina Hendricks, Bryan Cranston, Marcia Gay Harden, Lucy Liu, and James Caan. Yeah. And this is a very, very depressing yet well-made film. It is not... I watched the trailer, and it kind of makes it look like it might be this kind of uplifting, inspirational story, but it is not. It is dark from the very beginning. It is very sad and extremely depressing throughout. I mean, beginning to end. But I think it's one of those films that a lot of people should see that won't. Just because it kind of really showcases the plight of the American high school teacher and just how difficult their lives can be. So that's definitely one to check out. I should be reviewing that for the site at some point.
Some point.
I'm kind of backlogged with reviews right now, so we'll get around to it at some point.
Yes.
Do you have any other movies that you want to discuss?
I was just gonna point out real quick that we do have, a review up for Oslo August 31st. And just two things that I want to mention. Trier, who directed this movie, not Lars van Trier, but Joachim Trier. This is his second movie. His first movie, Reprise, is actually streaming on Netflix if you want to check that out. And also, it's a lot like, I mentioned in the review that it's a lot like The Fire Within, which brings us to a new thing that we're going to be doing on the site, which we're calling 10 out of 10,
Mm-hmm.
which is where me and Adam are going to go back and sort of review movies that we think are our all-time favorites, classics, anything that we think deserves a 10 out of 10. So probably I would say today or tomorrow I'll have one up for The Fire Within. And then, we'll have links that you can buy them off of Amazon and everything.
Yeah, it's basically, we've been talking about this, and we'd like to go back and kind of showcase some of our just absolute all-time favorites. I mean, especially in the January, February months when it's like nothing but shit that's coming out.
Yes.
It's kind of refreshing to talk about and write about something that's good, like a good, solid movie.
Correct.
I guess that does it for what we've been watching this week. Let's go ahead and kick off Ryan Watches a Movie. This is Ryan Watches a Movie, where we get our friend Ryan to watch a movie and report back to us on if it was good or not.
Oh no, Carl. The little kids got naked and had lots of sex.
Welcome back to the show, Ryan. What movie did we have you watch this week?
Navy SEALs.
Navy SEALs, in honor of Act of Valor coming out this weekend. We had you watch 1990's Navy SEALs, starring Charlie Sheen, Michael Bean, is that it? Michael Bean, T-1000, and Bill Paxton, and the guy from the Allstate commercials. That's Allstate Stan.
Hey, Jeff.
Before we get into it, I have a little trailer here that we can listen to. This is Navy SEALs.
Look, I have a commitment to the team.
Yeah, well, the teams aren't going to last forever. I'm sorry, guys, but I cannot be a part of this funeral procession. I'm out of here. See you later!
When danger is its own reward.
Move out together, only together.
There are men who will go anywhere.
You guys are crazy.
Proud of it, baby.
Dare anything.
We're SEAL Team. We're here to get you out.
They're Navy SEAls.
You can see me when I'm hot.
An elite fighting force.
You don't gotta love it, you just gotta do it.
Who don't know how to lose. Navy SEAls.
Okay, I think we're good there. Sounds exciting.
I love
Ryan,
the music.
What'd you think of Navy SEAls?
Well, first of all, let me start off by saying that I don't know if I'd ever become through off Charlie Sheen was saving my life.
Okay.
Then I'll say that Charlie Sheen in this movie he's like a mixture of now and back then. He's kind of like the cool guy, but he is racist as f***, and he is also vulgar as f***.
Nice.
Classic Sheen.
Let me read the synopsis here. This is according to IMDb. While rescuing an American aircrew captured by Mideastern terrorists, Lieutenant Curran and his team of Navy SEALs discover evidence that the terrorists have come into possession of dangerous high-tech weapons. Sounds exciting.
What are the dangerous... Yeah.
The high-tech weapons are f***ing Stinger missiles.
Nice.
Oh,
Stinger missiles.
dated.
This was directed by Louis Teague, who probably nobody knows.
Except for
but
Cujo. He did Cujo.
He did Cujo. He did Cat's Eye, which was a 80s horror movie that I never saw. And he did 2 episodes of Nash Bridges. I thought that was interesting.
And also the Dukes of Hazzard reunion TV movie.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Real quick, before we ask you some more questions about this, Ryan, I want to play another little clip that makes me think of this movie. So, here we go.
They never rent quality flicks. They always pick the most intellectually devoid movie on the racks.
Ooh, Navy SEAls.
It's like in order to join, they have to have an IQ less than their shoe size.
Ooh, Navy SEAls.
It's like in order to
I
join, they have
love
to
it.
have an IQ.
I love it. That was from Clerks, and that was the first time I ever heard of the movie Navy SEALs. And I never saw it, but I always wanted to make someone watch it, so this was a perfect opportunity.
Dreams can come true.
Well, you should probably never waste your time. But, I mean, it wasn't as bad as some of the previous movies, but it wasn't good either. Like I said, it's just filled with a lot of Charlie Sheen womanizing and being the cool guy and swearing. And then the Allstate guy, he turns out to not be in good hands because he died.
Uh-oh, spoiler. The Allstate guy dies. So, what would you, we heard the IMDb synopsis, what would you give for your synopsis?
It's kind of, there's a lot of points in this movie that are basically pointless. They serve no purpose in telling any part of the story. It's just like your typical action movie where they go save people, and then Allstate tries to get married, and during his wedding ceremony, he gets called out on duty. So his chick is walking down the aisle, and he leaves the wedding procession with like 4 or 5 other guys. And magically, they end up in Beirut in like 5 minutes. They start in Virginia, and they end up in Beirut in the same day.
Wow. This got a 19% on Rotten Tomatoes. Are there any movies that you would compare this to, that you would liken this film to? Like, I don't know, like Top Gun or something?
It's sort of, I mean, like the topic is obviously not the same, but Top Gun, the Charlie Sheen in this movie sort of plays a character that Tom Cruise plays. But like I said, the movie is not. The topic is not the same. It's just the character.
How's the plot progression?
There's no plot. It's just people dying. They just die pointlessly.
How's the action, at least?
The action, I'd say for an 80s movie, I guess this actually came out in 1990.
It's still basically an 80s movie, though.
Yeah. It's, for that point, the action it looks alright.
I have 2 things. One is that the only thing I've learned from this movie so far is the Allstate guy. Sounds like the Allstate.
That's all you need to know.
The second is a question. We heard that awesome, sweet music during the trailer. Is that played throughout? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes.
There's
Perfect
like
for an action
4 or 5 scenes. There's like 4 or 5 scenes with an action montage. And they play the same song over and over and over.
You know, I was just gonna say that sounds exactly like montage music.
But I was also, my first thought was that was the high-tech weapon that the terrorists got their hands on, was that music.
No, it was just if they get a hold of that sound clip, it would probably be much more fatal than a singer.
Either way, the Allstate guy dies.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what they get their hands on. He's dying.
Yeah.
How's T-1000? Does he do a good job?
He's kind of like I don't really know how to explain. He doesn't play that prevalent of a part, and I'm not saying like his character. I mean, he doesn't like talk that.
Because from the trailer, it made it look like he was kind of like the sidekick.
Well, I think he's like, what I'll think. He's one of the main guys, but he just doesn't like there's no character development.
Mm.
He doesn't learn from his lessons.
So what would you rate Navy SEALs out of 10?
Like I said, it's better than the previous movies, but it's still not worth even touching. I'd say probably a 5.
5 out of 10? Okay.
It would be a good choice to watch this instead of going out and wasting money on the Tyler Perry movie.
Okay. Or Act of Valor, maybe.
That's like the best tagline for a movie. Navy SEALs, slightly better than a Tyler Perry movie.
Well, I feel like, we have Act of Valor opening up this weekend. Clearly, it's just a recruitment tool. How would you rate Navy SEALs as far as a recruitment tool? Did you want to go out and join the Navy after watching it?
Well,
Navy SEALs.
I have a problem because I can't really do that. But
True.
if I don't think watching this movie would do it, because Charlie Sheen is a huge asshole. And
So he plays kind of like the typical male chauvinist type.
And he doesn't give a shit about anything. He just does what it like. When Allstate dies, Allstate dies because they're doing a secret training or secret mission in Beirut, and there's 5 of them, and they're all hidden, and soldiers start walking around, and Charlie Sheen stays hidden from them, but just decides to go guns blazing and shoot all of them for no reason, and I'll say duh.
I might have to actually watch this movie.
Yeah. So Dale Hawkins is not a role model in this movie.
No.
Okay.
He is definitely not someone you want your kids to like.
This movie does have a Top Gun tie-in. Joanne Whalley, the actress that plays Claire Varens, was married to Val Kilmer at the time. So there you go.
Iceman.
I
don't know if this had a sequel made or anything, but I feel like that this is one of those movies that would have like 5 different sequels with completely different actors, like the Iron Eagle movies.
Yeah, thank God that didn't happen.
Yeah, it kind of does seem like a cash cow movie.
Yeah.
Well, Gary Goldman, the guy that wrote the movie, he also wrote Big Trouble in Little China.
Oh.
Total Recall, and Nicolas Cage always seems to pop up. The Nicolas Cage movie Next.
Well, Next was horrible, but I'm a huge fan of Big Trouble in Little China.
But yeah, Next was the only other movie that he has written since 1990s Navy SEALs.
So possibly that was like a career ender for him, Navy SEALs.
Could have been. Definitely set him back a little bit.
To save him and not watch this, man.
Well, there we have it. 5 out of 10 for Navy SEALs. Thanks for watching it for us, Ryan, so we don't have to.
No problem.
What did you say?
That's what I'm here for.
Alright, well, thanks again, Ryan. We will have you back next week to watch another thrilling, exciting, fantastic movie. And for those of you that want to buy Navy SEALs to have your own copy for your collection,
do that.
we are going to be offering it on our store if you go to filmpulse.net. Thank you again, Ryan, and we will see you next week.
See you later.
Amazon. We love Amazon, and you should love Amazon too. All you got to do to help support the show is go to the site at filmpulse.net, click on the Amazon banner in the top right, and shop as you would normally. We also have a store set up that has some of the recent movies that we've been talking about on the podcast and on the site, and you can also buy some of our favorite DVDs and Blu-rays from the store. You'll be helping out the show immensely, and
I did it.
And we will be, in the coming weeks, I didn't tell you about this, Kevin, but I'm going to start up a contest where whoever buys the strangest thing on Amazon through our site, they're going to get something. And I'm not going to say what, but I will say that it is a DVD or Blu-ray, depending on your situation with your players. So, buy something weird on Amazon and send us an email at podcast@filmpulse.net and let us know what you bought, because we can see what you bought, but we don't know who bought it. So, let us know.
I'm going to, after we're done recording this, I'm going to try and find the strangest thing ever and buy it through Amazon.
And you'll win. You'll win.
Just to win. And then I'll call you up immediately and be like, I won. What am I getting?
Yeah, so shop on Amazon. They got tons of great stuff. I buy everything on Amazon, so you should too. Let's talk about the Independent Spirit Awards. This was on last night on IFC, and the full list of winners is available on our site. Should be on the homepage still. You can check that out. But we're going to talk about some of the highlights, whatever. I'd first like to say that the Independent Spirit Awards used to be one of my favorite award shows, because it was an opportunity to highlight some of the lesser known films that came out during that year that should have gotten the recognition of the Academy, but for whatever reason didn't. And I feel like now, especially this year, the Independent Spirit Awards is basically just the Oscars Part 2. Looking over the winners, it is almost a mirror of what I predict will happen tonight at the Oscars. I think that it's completely ridiculous. The rule of the Independent Spirit Awards, I think there's probably several rules, but one of them is your film has to be made with less than $20 million. Now, that is such a broad, especially in the economy that we're in now, where even big studios are making lower budget films. It's just, I think that it's just kind of ridiculous.
Yeah.
I'm growing to hate the Independent Spirit Awards.
Yeah. I honestly can't believe that they can still call themselves the Independent Spirit Awards. I guess having that spirit at the end of independent sort of makes it,
right,
sort of takes care of everything, but it just, I mean, they get some things right. Some of the actress and actor nominations, they sort of veer off and get some things that aren't well known and big time like the Oscars, but they still have a lot of movies in there that I don't think should be involved.
I don't think The Artist should be on the list at all. And that was one of my biggest gripes about the Spirit Awards this year, was that The Artist won, I don't have the number, but certainly the most, at least 4 or 5. I think it was like 4 maybe. But I don't even feel like that should be on the list.
Yeah, 4.
Maybe have it be under Best International Film, because unless I'm mistaken, isn't The Artist a French film?
Yes, which is another thing not to we didn't really want to talk about the Oscars today, but I was thinking, me and my wife were talking today, that since The Artist is a silent movie, it's able to be nominated in the Oscars for Best Picture. But if there was talking involved, because it's a French film, it wouldn't have been able to be nominated for Best Feature Film and Best Director and all that. It would have been in the foreign language section. But because it was silent, then it can break in and, be nominated for those awards.
But see, that's one thing. But when you look at the Independent Spirit Awards, it's Best International Film. It's not Best Foreign Language Film. I mean, like Shame and Melancholia are on Best International Film. They were nominated. So to me, I don't even know why the Artist is on there. I mean,
probably because I think The Artist is I think it was a joint. It's French and U.S.
Yeah, I mean there were certainly
so I'm sure there's
U.S. actors.
Yeah, there's a loophole probably. I mean, the Independent Spirit Awards essentially it does the same thing that a lot of these award movies do, is they're trying to get some big names to come to their award ceremony. So they nominate movies that they shouldn't be, just so they can have a bigger fanfare and get, an IFC and, money off of it, and be more relevant than what they used to be back when they was all independent movies, which is how I liked it.
And I just feel like a lot of the movies that were nominated and won shouldn't have even been on the list, because they're still studio films. I mean, they're not, I wouldn't consider them independent films. And I know that there's like this kind of gray area when someone mentions an independent film and what the definition of an independent film is. But when I'm looking at like Margin Call and The Artist, and The Descendants, to me, those are not independent films. Those are just small studio films.
Yes.
Those are just lower budget studio films. And
exactly.
I don't think that they should even be on there. It's really upsetting to me to see, Take Shelter not winning every one of these awards, because I think that a movie like that or Drive should have.
Yeah.
And I mean, they have some in there that, there's like Cedar Rapids was up for a few, and that to me is an independent film.
Yeah, but and of course when you're looking at Best Feature, you have the nominees were The Artist, 50-50, Beginners, Drive, and Take Shelter. Okay, so we pretty much agree that The Artist shouldn't be on there. I don't even really think 50-50 should be on there.
No, I don't either.
Drive, I might even...
That's even a close one.
Yeah, and I mean, you have a movie, like a true independent movie like Martha, Marcy, May, Marlene, that I think should be on there. I mean, people did get nominated for it, like Elizabeth Olsen, and John Hawkes was nominated for Best Supporting Male, and I think it was even maybe Best First Feature. Yeah, that was nominated for that. So I mean, they get some things right, but it seems like they're sort of leaning. I can just see them in a couple of years being like the Golden Globes' little brother.
Yeah, sort of.
Somebody,
Also, I'd like to mention a movie that isn't on here at all that I thought was incredible. Win-Win. I don't understand why that wasn't. I mean, that was an independent film. It was fantastic, and that got snubbed at everything this year.
Yeah.
And that to me, that should have definitely. Also, we need to talk about Kevin. I don't see that on here either. And to me, that should have. For when I think of the Independent Spirit Awards, I think of movies like that, like movies that push the boundaries and offer up something unique. I think that a lot of it has to do with money too, because when you look at Film Independent, the nonprofit organization that backs the Independent Spirit Awards. They're always looking for money, and I think that this is a way for them to bring in some funds. Yeah. And I really do support. I'm a member of Film Independent. I really do support the organization, but I feel like there's other ways to bring in money and get people watching this award show. Because honestly, the people that would watch the Independent Spirit Awards are not really the same type of people that would be just sitting down and casually watching the Oscars on a Sunday night. Yeah. You know, it was shown on IFC at 10 p.m. and it's uncensored, so, you know, they can say and swear and stuff. So to me, it's kind of like they're shooting themselves in the foot.
Yeah. I do have to say, well, one thing real quick. Win-Win was nominated for Best Screenplay. Thomas McCarthy.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, he was nominated for that. I think that's it, though. But the one thing that Independent Spirit Awards gets right, in my opinion, that I absolutely love that they have this, is that they have a John Cassavetes Award. Mm-hmm. Which, I mean, if you're going to be talking about an independent film,
oh yeah,
John Cassavetes is your godfather.
Mm-hmm.
And the winner of that was Pariah, which I do want to see, which is crazy enough because it was made in 2007. That's an independent movie. You make it in 2007, and it doesn't get released until essentially this year, 2012. That's the epitome.
Yeah. That I haven't seen Pariah, but I'd like to see that as well. And Bellflower, that to me is an example of an independent film as well.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And there's actually 2 on here that I never heard of, which is what I've always wanted from the Independent Spirit Awards. And I mean, me and you follow movies, and we know almost all of them. But yet again, there's 2 on here. The Dynamiter, I never heard of, and Hello Lonesome.
Nope.
Never heard of those.
Yeah, I never heard of those either. So, and that's what I remember about the Independent Spirit Awards. I remember when I was younger, I would watch it, and it would be almost all movies that I just never heard of, and it was like such a good way for me to find new movies. But you know, I heard of the artist. I know what that is.
Yeah.
But by this point, I think everyone on the planet has heard of the artist.
And the other thing, you know, you're from, we went to high school together, so you're from where I'm from. And if you can go out and see The Artist.
Oh, yeah.
It's not an independent movie. I'm sorry.
Nope.
I can go to my local theater and see that movie. Pariah, no chance in hell. I have to drive to Baltimore to see that.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, was not done in 2007. I read this wrong. It started out as a short film in 2007 and then was made in 2011 as a full-length feature.
So, that's pretty much our thoughts on the Independent Spirit Awards. I pretty much hate them now, and they suck. So
I don't completely hate them. I think that they still have a shred of relevance, but I have a feeling that they're slowly slipping into that territory where they're going to be the Oscars 3.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? Like, they might get a different person organizing it, and next year might be completely different. I mean, with Sundance, that's kind of how it went. For a while there, it was at Sundance, it was all like almost all like Hollywood movies that were playing at Sundance. And I remember like a few years ago, I was like, oh, Sundance sucks, man. But now it's like, this past Sundance I thought was really good. There's a lot of great movies.
Yeah, I think this past Sundance was the first one that absolutely none of the movies showing had a distributor.
Really?
Yeah, I think they were all, except maybe like 1 or 2. But I think it was, one of the first Sundances that, none of the films were bought yet.
And when you look at the list, I mean, it's all like you know, first-time directors, very low-budget films, like not a whole lot of star power in a lot of the movies that were shown there. And I think that that's how the Independent Spirit Awards should be too. Like,
yeah,
a lot of the movies.
I should be
like,
discovering people at
Right.
Independent Spirit Awards. I shouldn't be like, oh yeah, that movie. It won how many awards so far?
Yeah. Well, talking about terrible things in film, let's move on to the Razzies.
Razzies.
The Razzies are an award show that happen. They always coincide, and they go over the worst movies and actors and performances of the year. This year has some really, really great nominees. Most notably, Adam Sandler being nominated for 11 Razzies.
Yes.
That's mostly for his film Jack and Jill, which got 12 nominations in and of itself.
Yes.
Adam Sandler was also nominated as Worst Actress
Yes.
for Jack and Jill. And I just love reading the Razzies because they just kind of, it's like they have fun with the nominations too.
Yeah.
Like they have a worst screen couple, and this year is Nicolas Cage and anyone sharing the screen with him in any of his 3 2011 movies.
Yes. Perfect.
This is so funny. And plus, The Hangover 2 was nominated for worst sequel and worst remake. Because it's the same movie.
Yes. Yes, it is.
So it looks like this is Adam Sandler's year.
It is.
He previously, I think the person that was nominated for the most Razzies before was Eddie Murphy, but I think now Adam Sandler might have the top spot.
And that's funny because I was just thinking, and I was about to say that Adam Sandler seems to be going the Eddie Murphy route.
Mm-hmm.
You know, costumes, fat suits,
yep,
dressing up as a woman. Just all
and it's weird because with Adam Sandler, he started off doing that.
Yeah.
And then he started doing more serious roles and like just comedies that had like more substance, like Punch Drunk Love and what was that one that he was in about he lost his wife in 9/11? I can't remember the name of that one.
Damn,
that was like
yeah, and even Funny People, which was
Funny People.
It was just a little bit ago, a couple of years ago.
But I feel like he kind of just peaked there and then started going downhill. And
I think what happened is he realized that, oh yeah, this is great and sort of good for the critics and everything, but I'm not making any money.
It could be. I mean, I think he also is pretty involved with his Happy Madison production company.
Yeah, which they do too much.
Is the worst production company ever. Yeah. They did Bucky Larson, Born to be a Star.
Which also nominated for a Razzie.
Yeah, that was Worst Picture.
And the director also got nominated, which is Tom Brady. And I like to think of that as that's actually the quarterback from the New England Patriots. That
would be so funny if that was actually Tom Brady.
That was his first film. I'm going to go out and say that.
Nick Swartzen also got nominated as Worst Supporting Actor, not for Bucky Larson, but for Jack and Jill and Just Go With It.
Nice.
Just Go With It was also an Adam Sandler movie.
That sure was.
So this was certainly a year of Adam Sandler. Michael Bay got nominated as Worst Director for Transformers: Dark of the Moon.
Good. They should have one for title. just like for the title of the movie, because Dark of the Moon, to me, is just the worst thing I've ever heard. But
the worst.
Yeah, they should have one for title. Just titles of movies. I would enjoy that.
The worst picture nominees are Bucky Larson, Jack and Jill, New Year's Eve, Transformers: Dark of the Moon, and Twilight Saga: Breaking Dawn Part 1. I don't even know what to say. I did see Jack and Jill.
Wow, really?
Yeah, I did. It was f***ing horrible. Horrible. That I think should probably win. But I didn't see Bucky Larson, and I heard that was atrocious.
I would say just based on trailers, because I've only seen the trailers for these movies. I haven't seen any of these movies. Based on the trailer, Bucky Larson, to me, I think should win. Mostly because Nick Swardson, when he plays that character, is just...
That was horrible.
The only other thing I would say, maybe Twilight Saga, because it seems like they of course take themselves way too seriously.
Yeah, I think Twilight probably won some Razzies previously for the previous.
I might give it to them because they're actually trying. I think Bucky Larson is just essentially 30 and 40-year-olds dicking around with a movie camera.
Yeah, they know it's not a good movie. They're not idiots, but with Transformers and Twilight, New Year's Eve.
Yeah, New Year's Eve. I forgot that existed as a thing.
They need to stop that. I don't know how many more of those they can make with these ridiculous ensemble casts.
I'm waiting for, like, Groundhog's Day. Not the Bill Murray one, but for them to do, like a multiple plot line of Groundhog's Day, and whether it's going to be winter or spring, and people battling depression, and then having, like, a President's Day movie. Because they had what was the Valentine's Day one called? I Hate Valentine's Day or something like that. That was like a year or two before that.
I think it was just called Valentine's Day.
Oh, okay, of course it was.
Yeah, it was just called Valentine's Day.
Yeah, why
not? Those are just... There's a lot of... there's several parody videos of those trailers online that are pretty funny, too. Check those out.
Definitely.
Anything else to add about the Razzies?
My absolute favorite about the Razzies. Couple things here. Worst actress, Martin Lawrence as Mama in Big Mama's Like Father Like Son. I love that they have that in there, and of course Adam Sandler is Jill and Jack and Jill. But also, my absolute favorite is Sarah Palin playing herself. Sarah Palin, the undefeated.
That works on so many levels.
Yes, it does.
Worst actress, Sarah Palin.
Yes.
I love that.
She's terrible at playing herself. And I love the fact that they entitled that movie Sarah Palin, the undefeated, when she lost.
Clearly, she was very defeated.
Yes. Far from undefeated. No, not much else. I mean, worst supporting actress, you have David Spade as Monica and Jack and Jill. Which, again, I love that they do that. Of course, Tom Brady, quarterback of the New England Patriots, directed Bucky Larson. He's up for worst director. So not only do you lose the Super Bowl, but you're up for worst director. That's a rough year.
As soon as I read that, I thought it was a misprint. I was like, wait a minute.
Well, the funny thing was that sometimes I'm so unbelievably stupid that I'm just, I'm like, worst director, Michael Bay. Tom Brady, I didn't know he did movies. Bucky Larson. I'm just
and then you just move on to the next one.
Yeah. And then I go back and I'm like, no, that's not the quarterback. But I'm gonna say it is.
One of my favorite categories is also the worst screen couple, because they always have really fun with that. But I saw this, Shia LaBeouf and the underwear model, aka Rosie Huntington Whiteley, for Trannies number 3? What is that?
I think it's supposed to be Transformers 3.
Oh, Trannies number 3. It's written as Trannies number 3, and I was like, what is that?
But I also like Adam Sandler and Jennifer Aniston or Brooklyn Decker, and just go with it. Now, if they win, because it says Jennifer Aniston or Brooklyn Decker, does Adam Sandler get to pick who gets the other one? Or,
I don't know, but
yeah.
he's in for a tough decision because he's also up for Adam Sandler and either Katie Holmes, Al Pacino,
or himself.
Or himself. So he can actually pick himself and win.
I would like to see worst screen couple, it be a tie between Just Go With It and Jack and Jill. That would just get everyone up there.
It'd be
at the same time.
Adam Sandler and the relationship he had with 1, 2, 3, 4 people plus himself.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh God, what a nightmare! What a nightmare! I didn't see the end of it. Jack and Jill.
Adam Sandler's year.
I had to turn it off.
Adam Sandler's year. I'm telling you.
Well, I think that does it for today. As always, we welcome your comments. You can send us an email at podcast@filmpulse.net. You can call our voicemail line. Give us a call on the voicemail line at 206-337-9263. As always, you can visit us on filmpulse.net. Send us your comments on there. And make sure to click through the Amazon banner on the site, buy some stuff, and help out the show. For filmpulse.net, my name is Adam.
And I'm Kevin.
And we will see you next week.